there's no need to panic about warnings of terrorist attacks in South Africa. That's the word from the Department of State Security. This comes after the U.S. Embassy in Pretoria issued an online terror alert over the weekend. Since then, several major shopping malls have increased their security. Head of Communications for the Ministry of State Security, Brian Dube, joins me on the line now. Brian, thanks so much for your time. You say we have nothing to worry about.
Indeed, Shahan. When we received this information from the Americans, we did liaise with them to get further information and, of course, to do our own analysis as a country to determine the extent to which this threat can manifest. From this work that we are doing, which is continuing, we've come to that realization that at this stage there is no need for any panic in the country. Safe to say, of course, that these matters are not taken lightly, that our normal work will continue, and that we will ensure that indeed residents and citizens in the country are feeling and are safe.
But Brian, it must have been a solid enough intelligence for the U.S. government to issue the warning in the first place. I mean, surely they don't do this willy-nilly.
Well, Shahan, yes, we do know that the U.S., this is part of their work standard precautionary measures that they take from time to time. We saw it again last year, in which they released a similar alert. But it's important for our country to indicate that we must still do further work on the information which we receive. And we do receive a lot of information from our own systems, our own sources. And of course, this information must be verified, Shahan, so that we do not create unnecessary panic, as it were. And we are saying that in terms of the work that we've done and that we are doing, we've come to this determination. Of course, this doesn't preclude them from communicating with their own residents in the country.
So how do you come to a different conclusion? Have you spoken to the U.S. government about the intelligence they have compared to what you have?
Of course, as I was saying, we work with a number of foreign intelligence agencies that are present in the country, including the Americans. There's ongoing work because, Shahan, there's no nation that can deal with this scourge of terrorism alone. So there's a lot of cooperation, a lot of sharing of information. But of course, what is important is that we must be satisfied. We must be satisfied that the information provided indeed is credible. And we are saying that to the extent that we have done our own work, our own analysis, we have not come to the determination in which they have made. And we are saying we are continuing to engage them to hear their concerns and to see how best we can address them.
Have you engaged them as yet, though? Because this was issued over the weekend.
Yeah, Shahan, this information came as part of the ongoing interaction that is there anyway. It's not that we work with, as I was indicating, a number of the foreign intelligence services who are in the country on an ongoing basis. And this work continues. As I speak now, there's work that is continuing in terms of the interactions and liaising that takes place amongst the intelligence community.
Was the South African government aware of this threat before hearing about it from the U.S.?
Well, let me indicate, Shahan, that we are very vigilant as far as these matters are concerned. There are a number of operations that are underway that we are working on ourselves as security services in the country. There are people of interest that they are on our radar. So we do have a fair amount of information, and we're keeping our eyes on the ball, as it were. And that's why I'm saying that part of the information which has come through needed, therefore, to be analyzed against what we have, against what information we're having, and the work we are doing. And these matters are not new matters. It's matters that, as I was indicating, are forming part of the ongoing work, because terrorism is a matter of international phenomena that no country can claim to be immune from.
Now, what intelligence measures do we have in place to monitor chatter of terrorist groups, when they talk about South Africa?
Well, Shahan, there's a lot of work that you are doing. On the ground, we were working with a number of communities in various provinces across the country to share information on these matters. And of course, the other measures that we are employing, unfortunately, I'm not able to go into the details of the measures that we are employing, but safe to say that we are keeping these things on the radar. You will know, Shahan, for instance, that South Africa is a signatory to a number of international treaties and belongs to a number of organizations throughout the world. In this work, Shahan, we receive information about the people and issues for us to flag, people of interest. So I was saying we look at transactions that are going on, because we must also look at the funding element of these things. So a lot of work is being done globally as well as in our country to ensure that these networks which are out there are monitored on an ongoing basis.
All right, given this alert regarding the from the US Embassy, are we monitoring malls any differently than before?
Well, the issues, the places which the Americans have cited, in any case, are high-profile areas because they are ordinarily within the radar systems of the various security services. So that work will continue as normal, as I was indicating, because at this stage, as I was indicating, there's been no determination really that has led us as the South African government to change the threat level, as it were.
And Brian, before you go, I want to ask you about South Africans who went abroad last year apparently to join ISIS. Given that, are we monitoring so-called terrorist cells in South Africa, if there are any?
Yeah, well, we do know, Shahan, that there has been a lot of work that has taken place in terms of attempts to recruit South Africans via in the main social media. And of course, as you know, South Africans will continue to travel across the world for a number of reasons. And ours as government is to ensure that when they travel, particularly to these areas of concern, we do keep our eye on them. We engage them if they go there, when they come back, to ensure that we can keep that area sanitized, as it were, so that we do not have active people in our country in this regard.
All right, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. That was Head of Communications in the Ministry of State Security, Brian Dube.